Hi, and welcome back to this straight line mission across the Ardennes. So far, I've done about 30 kilometers out of 74, and I've just encountered a cluster of houses I need to cross in order to be able to follow my line.
That was a bit more sketchy.
Right from the start, I could feel something was off with this first house.
There's also totally someone there. That's fucked up. What am I doing? Okay, let's go. Let's... Oh shit, I saw someone. I totally saw someone.
Yep, you heard that right. The unmistakable sound of an angry pensioner wondering what the F some random guy with a backpack is doing in his garden. Quite understandably, to be fair. Caught just mere meters away from the edge of a garden, thoughts ran through my head. In the end, instead of running away like an idiot, I thought I'd at least try to negotiate my way out of this messy situation.
J'essaie de rejoindre un chemin qui est par là-bas. Mais je pense que je suis peut-être un peu perdu. Ah. Ça vous dérange si je continue par là encore c'est juste vers les bois. Ah. Ah d'accord. Bon, je...
Vous pouvez le faire pour rejoindre, tu sais, passer par le village et monter par l'arrière, mais ici, il n'y a aucun chemin.
Ça va, pas de souci.
Vous ne saurez pas passer en haut, c'est clôturé.
D'accord. Très bien, bah, je vais faire ça alors. Merci.
Yeah, that was not my proudest moment right there. Anyway, that is the reality of straight line missions, I guess.
Damn it.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Either way, I still had to find a way to cross that line of houses in order to follow the line. So I tried another house just a little bit further to the right. My strategy here was to approach their front door as if I was about to ring a bell and ask for water or something. Once I had assessed that there seemed to be no one, I just legged it around the corner and ran for the forest. I'd managed to cross the property, but at the cost of deviating by 75 meters from the line. But at that stage, I had no time to worry about that, as to my horror, instead of rejoining the safety of the forest, I just found myself at the edge of yet another property.
Oh shit, there's someone at the window. Fuck. Pretend I didn't see anything. Yeah, we're cool. I think we are. Up on me. Yeah, goodbye.
Finally, it was a simple matter of crossing that last fence onto the road, except I could hear voices nearby and a dog was staring in my direction. So I waited for a minute or two before barging out of the hedge in order to not cause a commotion. Finally, I caught my breath, assessed the situation, and prepared myself for what was to come. Indeed, I wasn't quite out of the woods yet, so to speak. My line still went through several houses. The original plan was to simply cross them all, but the neighbours who were having a chat just down the road and their dog which was staring at me might have seen me trying to creep around their backyard. So the plan was instead to walk along the road for a bit, and then, as soon as I was slightly out of sight, to sneak into someone's garden in order to rejoin my line. In the end, things went pretty calmly. This whole fence-hopping operation through people's gardens allowed me to shave off a few meters of deviation from the line. But, just as I was once again about to reach the safety of the forest, the residents I had encountered earlier with their dog drove up just behind me.
C'est interdit, hein?
Ah oui, pourquoi?
5 heures, c'est fini, tu peux plus passer. Hein.
Ah ouais? Pourquoi il y a la chasse? Il y a la chasse? Ah ouais.
By a stroke of luck, it turns out my straight line skimmed right off the edge of the property that was marked as being restricted to pedestrians due to hunters being present.
I've made some excellent progress since, excellent, all things relative, but of course, with all the adrenaline that I had from crossing these houses and everything, I actually walked quite fast up to this hill. This, I think, is probably one of the highest points of the entire trip. And yeah, climbing up to this was actually kind of tiring. But anyway, I'm lowering my voice because I can hear some animals. So anyway, unfortunately though, I checked the map and I just saw that basically the next stretch of the straight line mission is going to be through basically 18 kilometers of forest. And that is a bit annoying because, first of all, I think this is going to be a pretty boring but also tough part for me because it's literally just 18 kilometers of nothing but forest. And if it's anything like the forest has been up to this point, this is going to be difficult. But also, as you know, I don't really have a means to recharge my phone. So that means that I really need to get out of that forest before my phone discharges. So that is going to be, a bit of a challenge, and it's going to put a bit of pressure on me. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to achieve that goal of crossing the entire 18 kilometers in a reasonable time, but I think it's doable. So yeah, let's go. That looks fresh as heck. Okay, well, you probably can't see shit, but I just stopped for the day. It's like almost 8 p.m. and I did a bit more than 12 kilometers. And I'm going to try to make a fire real quick because it's starting to get pretty dark. And I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge though because everything is really damp and there's not much good wood for that.
Despite trying my best to collect every single dry twig I could find in the fading light, and to build the best fire I could, and no matter how many times I tried, the result was always the same. The small flame would flicker and eventually succumb to the darkness, along with my hopes of warming up and eating something that evening. On the morning of day 3, I found it hard to gather the motivation to step out of the tent into the cold and damp forest to start walking again. especially knowing I still had nothing to eat. Nonetheless, after lying around in the warmth of my bed until 10 in the morning, I gathered my stuff and left my camping spot.
So I'm totally never going to make it out of the forest before my battery drains. So I've got a plan, and that is basically that in about 4 kilometers there's a road that takes me to a big town, and yeah, I'm going to have to hitchhike my way there and just buy a charger or find someone to charge my phone.
What I had just witnessed was an older male deer chasing a young buck to defend his territory and his right to reproduce with every female on it. All at once, I had forgotten about this silly line I was following, and instead realized just how lucky I had been to witness that, but also to not be targeted by the older male, who was probably high on hormones and ready to pick a fight with anyone. Indeed, the urge to reproduce can be so powerful with these animals that they will not eat at this time of year and become aggressive to anything they perceive as a rival.
So here we are. I'm going to try to hitch a ride, but this isn't going to be easy because the cars are going quite fast. I did change my clothes to look a little bit more presentable because honestly I look filthy as fuck. Yeah. And also I stink quite a bit. Unfortunately there's not much I can do about that, but I'm going to hope that whoever takes me in that car doesn't mind me too much. So see you in a while. I hope this will work, otherwise I'm fucked. Alright, cool. That was quick. Pretty cool. So yeah, we've arrived in Saint-Hubert much faster than I thought, because I was really starting to get a little bit desperate to hitch a ride because cars were just going so fast. And there's a supermarket right here. I'm gonna buy a charger here, and yeah, hopefully that'll be the charger situation resolved. I thought I'm almost emotional saying that. Here we go. So here's some proof that I didn't buy anything else, although I was very tempted to do so, but yep, it's time to try to charge my phone. Got a cable now, so that's solved that problem. So now my plan is to walk back to where I left the line, and the reason for that is basically, first of all, I think it's going to be hard to actually hitch a ride back to where I was, because I mean, going to Saint-Hubert, which obviously is a town, is, you know, not too difficult because there's many cars going there, but just asking some random person to drop me off in the forest, I don't really see that working very well. But also the other reason is that that way I can just charge my phone in my pocket for the hour and a half that it'll take me to walk back to there. Okay, sweet, my stuff is still there. For some reason wasting all of that time finding that charger cable and also wasting all of that energy doing that. For some reason it really kind of bothered me. But yeah, I think really what's going on is I'm just a bit worn out and that's it. And when I think about it, I almost had an emotional moment just saying the phrase that I was going to get a charger cable, and I think that really goes to show how, I don't know, sketchy my morale is and how, yeah, a bit worn out I am, I guess. But yeah, again, I've already said this a few times, but I think basically the part that we've done up to now is probably going to be the hardest part of the straight line mission. And after we get out of this forest, it's going to be easier, I hope, because basically it's going to be mostly pastures and fields and that sort of thing. And I've checked on Google Earth and I don't think there's many hedges, which would be really cool.
Despite all the wasted time and energy, I was still on track to finishing my straight line mission a day earlier than what I had initially planned. If I kept going at around 11 kilometers per day, I could reach the border with Luxembourg on Saturday instead of Sunday, I hoped.
That is the end of day 3. I've done 10.6 kilometers, which is not bad considering that I lost about 2 hours looking for that charger cable. And in other good news, well, I made a fire, which is nice, so I can actually eat something tonight. And let me get these mushrooms out of the fire just a little bit. Whoops, come on. Yeah, so anyway, I was going to say something, can't remember what. Oh yeah, so the other good news is that I checked one of the spare batteries that I had, and I thought it didn't work, but it turns out actually it does work fine, and so I can charge my phone even more than I thought, which is nice. I'm almost packed up and ready to leave, and I've got 24 kilometers left until the finish line. So that's actually kind of good news, because that means that if I keep up my more or less average speed of 11-12 kilometers per day, then I can have finished before Sunday. Right, here we go. All packed up. Yep, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Oh, that's not too bad. Although that is going to be a pain in the balls to cross, but don't have a choice.
After crossing the deep valley formed by the river Ourt, I finally caught a glimpse of what I had been dreaming of for days at this point. Flat farmland, unobstructed by hedges, and not a single tree in the way.
What a shit show. So basically I tried to cross the highway behind me, except the point where I thought there was a crossing point did not exist for some reason. So I had to waste a huge amount of time and energy making a huge detour, and also these pastures. I mean, it's nice, I can make good progress through them, but they're not quite the sort of mental relief that I was hoping for, because the cows are a bit stressful nonetheless. I mean, I can tell most of the times when they're like kind of just curious and want to play sort of thing, but still it kind of stresses me out, so yeah, I didn't really need that. battery is very low, and yeah, I've got about 3 kilometers to go till the next village. So I really hope I'm going to make it in time. Come on, move away. 1.32 kilometers to go and 7% battery. So yeah, it's going to be pretty close, but I think I can make it. Literally 2% left, but I'm 50 meters away from a bivouac, an official bivouac place, which is right there apparently. So I'm going to go there and hope that there's water and maybe even electricity, you never know. Or at least from there I can at least go into the village and try and get my phone charged. Oh man, what a day.
Once in the village, I managed to find someone to recharge my phone and refill my water bottle. I also just barely managed to make a fire, which was just enough to cook myself a meal, providing I kept blowing air to it constantly in order to keep it from dying. After a while, I went back to pick up my phone, which was charged up to about 77%. This was, according to my calculations, just barely enough to last me for one more day. This left me with no choice but to try to finish the line tomorrow, in one day, since this was the last village before Luxembourg. This would be no simple task, since I still had 16.5 kilometers left to do. But could the flat pastures I had been dreaming of since day one help me accomplish this? Find out next episode, and in the meantime, goodbye.
Je vais par là.